Hey guys, Artosis here, bringing you game number 2 in this Ultimate Battle 9-game series between Motive up at 12 o'clock and Scan down here in the bottom left. This, once again, the Ultimate Battle. If you are not familiar with the format, you play 9 maps no matter what the score. So it can be very one-sided, it can be very close, but the players can really show how they play a big series. It's definitely very, very different from like ladder games or something. A lot of things about like build orders in like what order you use them in on maps, the different mind games involved with that. And honestly, looking at this situation, when I look at map 1 is Largo and map 2 is Ascension, I think Motive might have had a very good idea here. Because on Largo, he went for a Nexus first, happening at cross spawn there, and went into very quick carriers, like kind of timed out right after the 3rd Nexus. Now, that's a very strong build if you can get all that to work off. But this map, Ascension, is the best carrier map really currently being played. It's a fantastic map for carriers. Now, I mean, you can go Nexus first, or you can just skip. Here we see him queuing up 3 probes, so it looks like it's going to be Nexus first, and I'll bet you that he is going to go into carriers after that. And people sometimes wonder, like, what makes a carrier map and what makes not a carrier map. Basically, any map where you can't do like an earlier than maxed timing attack is very good for carriers. And so what makes it so that a map can do an earlier than maxed timing attack? Okay, so what does all this mean? I'm going to run you guys through that because I think that it's like such an important aspect. Okay, so look at, okay. The SCV, I guess it's going to go through all the small places, but there are big ramps all over, right? There's a ramp up to here, and then there's a ramp up to this big high ground, and then ramps here. There's ramps all in the center. So there's all these different changes from high ground to low ground. These allow a lot of defenders advantage for Protoss as they stand on the high ground. Like if you are battling right at the ramp, you'll notice Protoss, like this game, no matter what happens, whether it's a carrier game or not, a lot of the fights that Motive takes will be on ramps, so that there's a lot of missed shots on his units. Because you miss like 49% of shots or something going to high ground. So any situation like that, you need to have basically a maxed army to really do an attack. If you have a map that doesn't have so many of those, like let's say Polypoid, for instance, right? You have only like one possible level change in terrain, and that's something that you can actually walk around. So something like that, you could be like, yeah, I'm going to do a 120 supply push or something, right? If you optimize your build correctly, you can really get that done. Whereas here, you're really wanting to have like 3 bases and then push on max. So yeah, that makes it so that the earlier timing attacks don't work as well against your carrier build. So that's okay. That's that in a nutshell. I hope that makes some sense to everyone. Let me know in the comments. And I can elaborate more if it's confusing. Anyways, he has gone for the Nexus first, so you can see he's going Nexus first 1 gate. So this is a very, very greedy Nexus first. Without the 2 gateways, you don't really have all that much to defend. But this map, again, is very good for Nexus first, because if you drill up with SCVs and Marines and Vultures, trying to go through this little thing, like you fit technically, but if the Protoss fights correctly, this is very, very difficult to push through. You need more of a wide open area to push in. So you see that Scan is just skipping. I mean, there's not a great option for him here. Like the rush just is not going to work out well, even though he scouted him first. It's not a very good option. So you can see he's just going to play it kind of like Largo. So again, I gotta say, I think that overall, strategically, this has been laid out very well from Motive, because it looks like it's the same build on both. And look at that, he brings 2 probes to get the kill there. He does want to hide the fact that he's skipping range and going into Robo right away. Now, here's the thing. If you're Scan, you're definitely thinking about carriers here, because it was a successful Nexus first. And notice how quickly he's going Armory. That is a super quick Armory. We do not see a starport this game, because he went starport last game, right? So like if you're playing ladder, hell, just do the same build twice. You're playing 2 different opponents, right? But in a situation like this, mixing it up a little bit more is generally going to be a little bit stronger. So already +1 on the way. I think he's going to go for a very quick third base here, but we'll see about that. Mines are done. Vulture out on the map. We'll see where he ends up laying it. Shuttle on the way here from Motive. So it does look like he wants to go into Reaver, which is going to be a great follow-up, of course. Probably put the Reaver tech here. And as far as scan goes, we don't see an Academy as of yet. He is getting that second gas, so he is really optimizing tech here. As you can see, like producing vultures, that's going to save his gas as well. Another depot going down. No real scouting other than the vultures on the map, though. That is going to be about it. But yeah, if you do go quick armor, you generally need to get the eBay behind it. We'll see if that's going to be the case here for scan. Now, Motive getting ready to take his third base. Does have that Reaver on the way. There's the Reaver tech. But again, no way to really scout it at the moment. That Dragoon range was put way, way off. You can see it's almost 6 minutes and he still doesn't have it. Just kind of clogging up the area, right? He's got Dragoons sitting on every entry location to his little sector of the map. Great usage of the mines on the minimap, though. Look at this spread. He's got them just about everywhere. Good floating racks. I mean, he can spot things like shuttles. Obviously, unit movement's going to be very difficult through the map before you would have those observers out. And now getting ready for that very quick drop that can occur. Like we saw in the previous game, Motive moves some of these Dragoons into his main base. All right, the 2 Zealots have been picked up. Here's the Reaver. And it's time to see if he can get any damage done. Starport is on the way. There's Academy. Okay, so this is like as greedy as you can really get as scan, right? He does not have an eBay. He is going to make a Wraith right away. I guarantee that. He has to be thinking about the possibility of Reaver right now, especially considering he hasn't seen the blip of any observer. Now, here comes the shuttle. Oh, God, he's not really ready for this right now. This is a little bit worrisome. Okay, let's see what Motive can get done with this shuttle. Science facility on the way. Yeah, there's the Wraith being made. He does have a Goliath just popped out. So that Goliath, really the saving grace. I mean, this shuttle would have been able to do a lot if there wasn't a Goliath just popping out right there. But as is, Motive turns around. He is waiting for his shuttle speed upgrade to finish. Double comm stats are coming up. eBay as well. And the science facility timed out here for that +2 attack. So we are going to have very, very, very fast +2. Air weapons have started. We don't even have a starport or a Stargate yet for Motive, but definitely getting ready for that as we see. Stargate going down after this third base. And that +2 is going to be like the quickest +2 I think I've ever seen if he starts it. If he starts it. Please start it. You got to start it. Please? No? No? No starting, no start. Oh, there it is! That's still a very quick +2. You could have a little bit quicker, but yeah. You can see that he really is getting those upgrades prepared. Now, third base is up. Let's take a look at the gateway count. We have 4, 2 more coming. Reaver's still being produced. So yeah, it's kind of similar if you recall the game on Largo, right? Here's the second Stargate coming up. So he's going carriers after the third base. Instead of going up to 7 gates, he's staying on 6, and he has some Reavers flying around. Very, very similar ideas here from Motive, slightly different in their execution. Obviously, the Reavers are going to force a little bit of defense from his opponent, and they're very good at slowing pushes down as well. Maybe against a maxed army, not as strong unless you're Snow, but definitely going to be useful. Now, the Reavers come down. Ooh! Takes a single hit there. I think it's worth, though, to kill off that SUV. That was clearly going to make a third. Motive going to hold on to this high ground right now. Forge coming up, as well as the fleet beacon. More shuttles as well. I'm not sure exactly how many he's going to end up making. Generally, the one thing that you got to be careful about, you know, sometimes I see Protoss players, and Motive's a pro, so he probably won't do this, but you know, you have these speed shuttles, and you always think about diving in with speed shuttles. Now, he doesn't actually have vision in here. There could be mines all over the place. There are not. So this will probably work, but if you throw this away without good damage, you're going to be in huge trouble. Okay, so drops off everything, and let's see what type of damage he gets done here. Okay, a couple Scarabs coming down. Ooh, good pullback from Scan, saving that siege tank, not taking full damage because it was running away. Reaver's being dropped a little bit further back. Pretty low on that shuttle. Looks like it will be able to get out, just barely so. So at the end of the day, not really that much damage. But like I was saying, sometimes you'll see someone going carriers start wasting army. And that's like how you make the big mistake. You need to keep your army size very, very big when you're going carriers, because Terran wants to kill you in 1 or 2 punches with theirs. And if you allow them to whittle down your army, you're not actually hurting the Terran as much as you're hurting yourself. Now, Cannon in the main base getting some upgrades. A 3rd Stargate is up. Oh, I love this idea of an expansion in the top right because it's so far away. It's the furthest expand. Oh, what is he doing here? A little bit crazy. Oh, I think he found the perfect place to drop a Reaver off right there. And not the most damage with that first Scarab, but maybe get a little bit more. Ooh, so low on health. I think this is going to end up dying, but maybe some more damage can be had. Drops these Reavers off. Can he get any more? Okay, I mean, it did like okay. It felt like it had a lot of potential to do a ton of damage though, so I think it was kind of a smart move in that regard. But anyways, having an expansion way far away in the top right, it's kind of like the Zerg mentality, right? Where it's like your expansion itself is buying you time as you scale up very, very well. This time with carriers, Zergs would be doing it otherwise with, you know, either carapace upgrade for Ultralisks or with their Defilers. But either way, it takes Terran a long time to move across the map there. So I like that as his 4th base. But of course, Scan knows about that. Moving up now, gonna take over this high ground. A lot of Dragoons taking a lot of damage. In fact, picking off quite a few as well. The rest gonna hightail it out of there. No legs as of yet. Remember, we did see kind of a late legs upgrade on Largo. It didn't end up mattering at the end of the day, but definitely wants to start this pretty quickly. More Zealots joining the fray. Pretty big army being fielded right now. Not that many probes, 60 probes still. I guess enough on the amount of bases he has right now, but as this 4th base finishes up, he might want to add a few more. Legs upgrade does get started a bit quicker than we saw in Largo. Carriers starting to pop out. A lot of turrets being made, which is definitely something that you need against this. I mean, if they have shuttles and carriers, it can be very annoying. They can use them in tandem. The interceptors eating up a lot of turret shots while you drop in. Carriers, though, coming down. Looks like they want to start putting a little bit of harassment on. A lot of Goliaths here already. Scan's army looking pretty strong. I'm a little bit nervous, though, if he actually moves out here. He's down by a good 40 army supply at the moment. I don't think you're going to be able to push onto the hill. Notice where Motive turns around. Notice how he's staying here. This is high ground. These are the ramps. These gray areas, those are ramps. Just to make it really clear. So what Motive does is he forces a siege here because he was walking around here. He doesn't want to attack downhill into this. Maybe with Zealot legs, he can actually break this because he has a lot more army supply. But other than that, he only wants to engage on the ramps. So a lot of Zealots down. Legs are almost done. I think he's actually going to attack. This army is not big enough, I believe. Like, if you have 30 more supply with it, sure. Now, these Vultures running around for some damage. Oh, the gateway block there, stopping the massive damage that would have occurred had these Vultures made it in. Very quick reaction, but he will knock down the Observatory. Observatory is very low on health. Great choice in that targeting. Moves into the natural, trying to lay some mines. And this is buying Scan some time to make a much better army back at home. These Vultures don't matter all that much for his army right now. More and more coming out. Looks like the 4th base going to get taken as well. The whole army came back to deal with the 7 Vultures, it looks like, for Motive. But he cleans it up, moves back towards the center. Notice Scan now can take this high ground location. He does not want to fight at the bottom of a ramp. So now he has that high ground. Motive going to back up. Some great upgrades here. Look at how quick this 3-2 is going to finish up. This is insane. Like, +3, +2 is going to be done before 15 minutes. So very, very quick upgrades here from Scan. And that's going to make a gigantic difference. Look, only +1 attack exists right now for the Protoss army. The carriers, I believe their +2 attack is almost done. Yeah. But obviously 3-2 going to be a massive advantage going to the next fights. Now, they are very close in army size. Here we go. Scan moving forward. Much closer to max here, up at 190. And you can see with that +3 attack, oh my god, 2 carriers rallying through the Goliath-based army. He loses them instantly with 0 damage. Sloppy moment there from Motive. Motive running down the ramp. Okay, he's decided now, well, Scan has maxed out. He's got those great upgrades. I can't engage right there. So he's trying to run around the army for a counterattack, but Scan immediately on top of it, chasing this army, slowing it down. Some reinforcements coming from the south, and he is absolutely massacring this army right now. This is bad news for Motive. Scan moving forward with these siege tanks. Looks like he wants to take out the 3rd base, which is doable, but he has to make sure he deals with this as well. You have to take 6 carriers pretty seriously. A lot of Goliaths coming back. He does have these Dragoons to help out. I'd actually like to see Motive maybe think about engaging the Goliaths and then running away with the carriers at the last second as the Dragoons are dying. Okay, here we go. Starts to engage. Doing a good job. He has the high ground here, so a lot of missed shots happening against those goons. Beautiful engage there from Motive. In the meantime, Scan has killed off the 3rd base. So the 4th is up. Not great saturation. Nothing on the gas right now. Still the goons fighting, and as the goons start to fall, he needs to run with these carriers. The goons still making a little bit of a wall. You see the Goliaths trying to ignore them as best they can to go after some of these carriers, but the carriers going to fly out of here. Looks like they will be able to escape. Another nice thing about Ascension 4 carriers, there are a lot of areas like this where you can kind of just fly away, and the Goliaths can't catch you very easily. Maybe fighting here a little bit too long. One of those carriers, 1 Goliath shot away from dying, but looks like he will save it. Some DTs fighting against the tanks, just trying to cut up the attention of Scan a little bit. You know, if you're not paying attention because you're microing heavily against the carriers, then sometimes those DTs can get a few tanks before they go down. Another one here as Scan continues to push. I think he's got to be careful. We're getting into a tank-only army at this point. And as these carriers fly back, I mean, the tanks can be killed off very, very easily. The Goliaths, are they too far away to actually save these siege tanks? Looks like Scan unsieging most of his tanks and running away. Goliaths obviously going through this hole is not a great idea. Carriers fighting from that high ground. 8 carriers here. Taking a look down at the bottom. A little bit of Zealot harassment going on at that 4th base. So many factories right now. We have 9 factories up macroing this 3-2 mech out. Plus 3 armor almost done as well. And now with the reinforcing Dragoons and Zealots, looks like Scan wants to regroup a little bit. Definitely think that's a very good play right now. Ooh, gets a pick on one of those carriers. Always a strong move. More Goliaths coming out. Scan trying to hold on to the center of the map. He does have that overwhelming army size right now. I think it is time for him to continue to push, to continue to pressure. It's up a good 40 supply, 20 of which is army. Dragoons coming down. Those Dragoons will get absolutely plastered. The ground army is just not large enough right now for Motive. Oh, Scan here. Well, he gets an EMP off, which EMP can be good if they stay to fight you. Like, maybe you're able to pick off some more, but loses the Science House Slayer. Yep, gets to pick off a carrier on the back of that EMP. Very well done. Looks like Motive is thinking about taking another base. Doesn't really have the income to do it, though. A few more probes here than last time we checked. A lot of idle probes. This is getting low. 3rd base is still gone. This is looking more and more like a Scan victory. I think he's almost boxed him in. You see that Motive continues to try to outmaneuver with his carriers, but there's almost nowhere to go. The sweeping motions that we see from Scan, like attack up here, come back down, cut off the retreat, then he'll probably come up this way and go up the ramp. See the carriers, yeah, the vultures see him, so obviously they can't fly over here. The Goliaths will catch them. Back into a more defensive stance. And we are maxed out as Terran right now. So with these 3-3 upgrades, really looking good. Okay, mass vulture attack into this top right. That's going to force the carriers to come over to defend. GG is called, and we're tied up 1-1.